Hello all. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the first ever Daphne Zeppel's Teaching Endowment Press event. And we wanted to do this because we know that there's quite a bit of updates we want to share with you and figured this was nicer than reading an email. So in this way you can interact with our board members and chat with them about what's going on. So my name is Jewel. I'm the Chief Administrator of the Daphne Zeppel's Teaching Endowment, which is the endowment that funds the Daphne Zeppel's Teaching Award. Been with the organization since we started in 2012, and we're so excited to have you here to share some updates that's going on in our organization. Before Daphne Zeppels passed away in 2012, she created a vision with her friends, Ari Weinsvig of Zingerman's, Jason Hines, Niels Yarderi, and Mo Frechette of Zingerman's Mail Order. And this vision was to increase the number of educators in the North American cheese industry through offering opportunities to learn about cheese travel and through personal experience. And Daphne once described herself as someone who broadened the horizons of those she spoke to through taste education and the history of cheese. She believed that the institution of education could have the power to protect the cheesemaker. Over the last 8.5 years, we have given out 8 awards, rotated through over 20 board members, and visited almost 10 countries. I'm honored to have been a part of continuing Daphne's legacy since its inception, since day one, but even more honored to introduce our speakers tonight as we embark into the next chapter of executing Daphne's vision for this organization. So just a few housekeeping notes for the night. We will have everyone's microphone muted, except for the speakers and the moderators. We do welcome and strongly encourage you to ask questions, so please submit them as they arise in the chat or in the comments feature if you're on Facebook Live. Then we'll submit them and ask Tom Perry and myself, who are the moderators. We will then share them with the speakers throughout the evening as time allows and as the breaks occur. We plan on speaking for about half an hour, but we'll be available as long as you have questions, so please feel free to stay on if you have questions. And then lastly, this is recorded and will be available on our Facebook page, but also our YouTube channel for later viewing. If you're having troubles finding that recording, please feel free to email us at info@dzta.org, and that way you can find it. We will also work on making it available on Instagram too. So if you're in Europe or you're anywhere where it's just difficult to watch it right now, we'll have it available for you. So without any further ado, I'm really grateful to have so many people here tonight. I'm really excited about that. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and your evening to tune in. I will gladly turn this over to 2 of our newest board members, Tanaya Darlington, aka Madame Fromage, and Peter Dixon of Parish Hill Creamery. So go ahead and take it away, guys.
Tonight, I'm from my home office in Philadelphia. We are both board members and are so excited to be a part of a program that promotes cheese education in North America. We have called you together because we have a big announcement tonight. Peter's going to do the announcing, and then I'm going to pick his brain for all the details. As you know, because of the pandemic, the Daphne Zeppos Teaching Award, which involves travel, isn't really possible. So we've put our heads together and come up with something that is brand new, a brand new scholarship to promote cheese education. And we hope that it will involve more people in the community. So Peter, deliver the good news, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
All right. Yes, so this new award, it is called the Daphne Zeppos Research Award. And the intention here is to allow the recipient to do research, not have to travel to Europe or, far and wide. It kind of reminds me of when I was doing my master's degree at University of Vermont, and I had to do my literature review. All the hours I spent in the library researching seasonality of milk production and how it affects cheese quality. So was just something that came to mind that, we're going to be throwing out some ideas, right, Tanaya, about potential,
Absolutely.
things. But yeah, that's it. That's the name of it.
So we're going to explain that this is a very broad award. We're going to talk about the application process, sort of what the vision is for this award, who can apply, who the audience is, details, deadlines. And we're also going to mention a special free visioning session with ZING trained Zingermans that will be coming up as well. So we'll tell you all about that. What we want to do is give you all the information tonight about this award, encourage you all to think about applying or tapping friends in the industry This is a broad award, so anyone that has been involved in the food industry for at least 3 years over the last 6 years can apply. So cheesemakers, cheesemongers for sure, but also chefs or people who are involved in the arts that are in some way also connected to food. So Peter, do you want to tell us a little bit about what are some ways, just so that it doesn't sound like like it has to be an academic paper, what are some things that people could create? Because this is sort of a multimodal opportunity here.
Yeah, well, let's go with the modal here idea first. So what does the winner of the award have to do? Well, conduct cheese-related research that's global in nature. And we outlined a few areas that you could potentially work in: historical, cultural, scientific, practical, technical, like, you know, the cheese making practice, perhaps, geographical, go somewhere in the world to explore the way they are doing cheese, economical or political, you know, how cheese has affected politics even, you know, because it has. Cheese has been this amazing food throughout the history of, you know, from livestock, the beginning of livestock rearing, cheese hit the scene. So it's been around for a long time, and there's a lot of potential here for doing research. So to answer your question specifically, what could you create out of this research, right? A piece of educational material. But what could it be? It could be anything from a webinar, so this kind of format we're doing now, where, you know, you have your audience and you're online, lecture type thing. But you could do a film. You could do either a documentary or an animated film. The audience is broad. It can be any. The whole idea is to educate the public about cheese. So it could be a video, a piece of literature. I mean, you and I were talking the other day about a children's book. You know, I mean, cheese is this amazing food, and I think kids, you know, they're learning science, they're learning about, you know, cooking or whatever in school. Cheese could go right in there. So any kind of materials to reach a broad audience, from a novice level, like children, or just, you know, people in their homes who enjoy cheese, going to the enthusiasts like you and I, and then professionals like you and I. So of course you have to be enthusiastic about cheese if you want to be a professional.
One of the things we really want to convey is that this is a broad award. We're really looking for intriguing proposals from those of you who are out there who want to create something that is an educational material. You choose the format. As Peter said, it could be a webinar, it could be a written piece, it might be for a magazine, or it might be a booklet, a small book, it could be a video, it could be course materials for a cheese counter, or if you're a cheesemaker and you want to do some research around a particular style of cheese and create a document about it, it could be that. So the field here is very broad. We're looking for interesting proposals that could engage, as Peter said, professionals, enthusiasts, or total novices. So the thing here to think about is, who is your audience, what is your skill set, and what is your interest? We can talk a little bit more about that. Peter, what is the actual award?
Well, the award is $2,500, and the money should be spent on any related costs to doing the research and creating the materials. So that's pretty simple.
Absolutely. Deadline
and we could talk about the timeline, I suppose, like, you know, the important dates.
Sure. This is the award announcement, right? We're announcing the scholarship, but there are a couple of dates you put on your calendar. What are those dates, Peter?
So there is the Daphne Zuppos Endowment website, and of course, you know, the dates will be there. So they'll be. You don't have to remember this, but we have March 1st as when the application will be on the website. So you can get it and you can start to fill it out and work on it.
That's
And May 1st is when
dzta.org.
it's, what's that?
I was just saying the website is dzta.org or Daphne Zepos teachingaward.org.
Yep.
We'll take it there.
And then the due date is May 1st. So that gives you what? March, April, 2 months to work on this. And the announcement of the winner will be made on July 1st.
Peter, are you ready to talk about the application?
Yeah, I can run down. I have a list. I'm going to have to look at this. I can't do this.
We don't expect
from
you to have
memory.
it done.
So the idea here is it's similar to the teaching award, right? You have to write a vision. So that's like we had to write visions when we joined the board, correct?
Yes, we did.
That's not something I do every day. So that's kind of interesting, to look out into the future, and you're writing about how this award, and I mean the work that you've done under the award, what it has done, I guess, is the best way to describe that. That's the idea of the vision. It has to be a maximum of 500 words, so it's not very long. In the vision, you're gonna hit on these important points: why you chose to do the research, what you found out by doing the research, what educational materials were created, and then what these materials did, how they educated others, and then finally, who is the target audience. So there are 5 big things to think about as you're visioning about this thing that you're doing. And I actually enjoyed that process. I don't know about you, Tanaya, but that was interesting, huh?
Absolutely. So if you're someone out there who has had a vision, maybe a project you wanted to undertake, some way to connect to your community. Peter and I were even talking about how if you are someone who works in retail, for example, or you're a cheesemonger, maybe you want to connect to the makers in your state and do interviews, or you want to create a map, you want to create pathways for consumers and enthusiasts to learn more about cheese and cheesemakers in their area. Think about the people you come into contact with and how you could help them or create something that would create a deeper, more meaningful relationship to someone in cheese or to cheese in general.
Yeah,
it's just an announcement. We'll have all of this information up on the website. But we wanted to give you all first crack at learning about this so you could begin to think about, this is amazing. Someone is willing to give me $2,500 to create something that really improves the cheese community and helps support, hopefully, your passion.
And if you're not so familiar with visioning and how to do this process, there's actually a really good what do I call a seminar coming up that people can attend. Do you have that information tonight?
I've got that information.
All right.
So if you want to participate in a visioning workshop that will be offered for free via Zingerman's in Michigan, legendary Zingerman's, the Zing Train Visioning Workshop will be the evening of March 15th. That's a Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. That will be an opportunity for you to work with Ari from Zingerman's, who leads these legendary visioning workshops, to create a vision statement that night for this particular award. The other cool thing that we want to mention is that whatever you create will live on the DZTE website and will be available for others in the cheese community to use. So if you create a video or a series of worksheets or a booklet or a book, we can help you promote that and get that material out more broadly across the United States. So we're here to both support the program financially, but then also support what you create. Really help get it out into the world.
Yeah, it'll reside on the website permanently. The whole idea of this website of Daphne's Legacy is to create material, to educate people about artisan cheese, craft cheese, the real deal, the historical elements, the traditional methods, but you know, it can be way broader than that too. You can get sciencey with it. We've already explained and go in many directions with it. And so, but there are also at the Zing Train Visioning webinar, we also have our own. Rachel and David Lockwood will be on the panel, right?
Mhm.
And then isn't it Matt Benham as well, who is the most recent recipient of the Daphne Zuppos Teaching Award, will be on the panel. So there you go. You've got a great crew there to, you know, get some tips from, right?
Yeah, just one thing to clarify in the chat. You are writing a vision statement to apply for the scholarship, and you don't have to create this educational item before then.
Yeah.
You have the scholarship to receive the funds to support you to create the educational piece. So the only thing to really think about before the deadline of May 1st is your project. And so you're sort of pitching the project in the vision statement / proposal.
Yeah.
On that note, Tanaya, just to
Please
clarify.
follow up here. Jump in.
Yep. So on that note, so when you list of what the vision should include about kind of what your project accomplished, can you explain to some how you're able to do that if you haven't done it yet? For those who may not be as familiar with kind of a visioning process, might be good for those of you who've done that before to kind of explain how you're able to do that.
Absolutely. So in this vision statement, the idea is sort of to imagine the finished project and to flash forward in time and give us a sense of who you would talk to or what the research would look like, what you imagine creating, and then how you imagine it impacting the community. So the vision is really thinking out to the completed project. But again, you're not submitting something that is a finished project.
You can be writing about how, you know, I did several, I created a schedule for webinars, and I, reached, several hundred people or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas, but
yeah, you're imagining the impact, imagining the scope of the project.
I think it kind of comes down to what you like to do as a person, like, what you something to create, what you would like to create. Everybody's going to do the research, but it's really like, what would you like to create? What is the thing? Do you like to write? Do you like to make films? Do you like to do charts? I mean, I could think a series of charts explaining different cheese making processes that cheesemongers could use in their shops. We just don't have an awful lot of stuff in the US at this point.
Absolutely. Your project might be a poster.
Yeah.
We've mentioned video, written documents, of course, but we're really throwing the door open and welcoming your creativity. Again, this idea of if you could create an impactful cheese educational material for the audience that you connect to regularly, whether it's customers, whether it's kids, families, enthusiasts, etc., other cheesemakers, what do you think would be impactful to create this year for the community? Rachel, I did notice that there was a question in the chat. If people apply to this and were to receive this award, could they also apply later for the DZTE Scholarship, which, yes, will be reinstated after the pandemic?
Yep.
On that note, so is the DZRA going to be available in the future, or is this only a one-shot because we can't travel?
This will be available in the future. We're adding it into the lineup. And that's what's really exciting for us being on the board. And I got to say, we've been going for for me, it's only been 3 months or something, but it's a really great group, very creative people. We're throwing out really good ideas, and our really ultimate goal is to create a wide variety of opportunities for people to learn about cheese lore, cheese making, cheese aging, all the different things that bring cheese to the table. And then keep building this. It's almost like a library, is the way I think about it. And that must have some resonance with you tonight as a teacher. Professor. I'm a teacher of cheese making, but you have some things going on right now in your own academic work that relate to food, right?
Yeah, both Peter and I do education in different ways. I work with both writing students at a university here in Philadelphia, but I also do cheese education within a restaurant group, and then various videos and things like that on Instagram, as some of you know. I'm always looking for creative ways to engage people into the world of cheese, especially small batch, handmade cheese. It's what I really care passionately about, and also kind of heritage, traditional cheeses. There's not that much out there in the world. So this is really an invitation to those of you who are creative or intellectually engaged in the idea of promoting cheese as something that's fascinating, inviting, engaging for people. And again, we want to leave this open so that you can create the kind of project that feels right for you. That's why it can be any format, something written, something drawn, something printed, something published, something moving, animated. We're just leaving the doors wide open, and we just encourage you to use the skills you feel confident about to reach the audience that you feel confident about reaching. So again, you can reach out to, you could create this for enthusiasts, total novices, or professionals. And because this is an award that will be now available each year, from year to year, that might change. So you are the first people to hear about this. This is our first public announcement, and the opportunity is really wide open for your creative ideas. Peter, anything else you want to add before we just sort of throw things open to any additional questions?
Yeah, nothing much. Just a shout out to bring it on. Give us some things to look at here, and I hope we get overwhelmed.
All right.
With
Someone's
great-
asking what you can use the money for. Well, this money could be for your time. So if you already have a skill set and you are, say, creating a written document or a magazine style piece, it could be for your time. If you need supplies to do this, if you're going to conduct interviews and you needed to get some equipment or something like that, we don't have a vision for how you would spend the money, but we just ask in your vision statement, let us know, how would you use the money? It's a scholarship, so it's going to be in your hands. But I would assume that some projects could take many hours of time. Others, you might need to rent equipment or buy things or travel somewhere, locally to do the research. But again, we leave that up to you. It's a scholarship, and you would handle the funds yourself. We really do thank you for your interest. I know it's a lot of information at once, but again, what we want to put forth is that this is a new opportunity, a new scholarship coming from the Daphne Zepos Teaching Award. It's a research award now to create an educational piece of your own design about cheese for a broad audience. We'll be sharing this information on the website, dzta.org. And there's a follow-up visioning workshop through Zingerman's on March 15th at 7 p.m. to take this further. So hopefully what you take away from tonight is some chicken scratches on a piece of paper, or maybe you've begun to jot down a few ideas, started to do some brainstorming. This isn't the last that you'll hear of this. You can follow DZTA on Facebook, on Instagram. We'll be continually putting out this information. But just mark your calendars for the deadline. That's May 1st. And let this be a chance to do some thinking and, conversing with others. And, hopefully this just is something that during this pandemic, this kind of dark time, ignites your brain and gives you something new to think about, something exciting. We're really excited to see the visions, to read those, and to make this award.
Do you mind, Peter, running through? We had some people who came in a little late, and then also there was just so much to digest. The 5 vision requirements for this new award, just kind of run through those, as well as, who qualifies to apply, because it is so different from the DZTA.
Yeah, so to qualify, you should be a food industry professional. So 3 out of the last 6 years, you should have been working in the food industry. So broad-based, doesn't have to be just cheese. It's food industry. That brings in chefs and people who work in grocery stores. I mean, this is just education for everybody. So let's give everyone a chance to do it. I guess that's the idea. So the application requirements, it's a 500-word maximum. So keep it brief. And there are 5 key points. why you chose to do the research. This is your visioning. You're explaining, out there a couple of years or a year or two from now. What are we thinking again on the, like, how far in advance? It's actually a good thing to mention. I'm not, do you remember, Jewel? What?
Apologies, repeat that, sorry?
Do you remember how far out we should be visioning? Is it?
Oh, no, that is 100% up to you.
Okay.
More than, ideally more than 2 years, just because you'll be, that might be something worth of like what the deadline is for you to produce your work. Because usually with the DZTA, you have a year and a half or so, or a year to complete it. So that would be worth mentioning to that timeline. But yeah, usually a minimum of 2 years.
Okay. So that's one. Then in that, you're going to be writing about why you chose to do the research, your original idea, what you found during your research, what educational materials you created, and then what those materials did, how they educated others, and who were the ones that were educated, who was your audience. I forgot there are 2 other things that go in the application. I'm glad somebody asked me to do this again. The second part, so the vision's the first part. I just explained that. The second part is a resume, and the third part is a letter of recommendation. 1 letter.
That's a colleague or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, think broadly and imagine what it is that you might want to create. You might want to launch a class series. You might want to create materials. This could be something, maybe you want something that could be shared widely on Facebook or another social channel. But just know that whatever you create will live on the DZTE website, dzta.org. And it's something that other professionals in the cheese world would have access to. So you would inspire others. You might want to create something that would be a downloadable document that others could use. Again, the doors are wide open. So we're trying to give you some ideas, but hopefully you're thinking of things on your own as well. Think about, where your skill set is, what you're curious to maybe learn more about, and how you could create something about it. Even though this is called a research award, we don't want it to sound like this has to be scientific research or academic research. We use that term loosely. It's a way of sharing knowledge through an educational piece.
Yeah, one idea pops into my head. Like, this is something that I did in my career when I've been a member of the Vermont Cheese Council ever since the beginning, in 1996. And back in 99, we were getting really geared up about cheese safety. We wanted to do something as a council for all our members to have sort of a template cheese safety program that everyone could use. They're like, Dixon, can you research what they're doing in the European Union? What are their regulations? What are their requirements? How are they approaching it? And guess what? I was paid to do that, $2,500, and it took me about a year to, back then I had to go contact lots of Europeans, different people in the regulatory, people who are cheesemakers, to get to shape that. But that's just an example of something that's a little more. I would say that's a practical kind of research project. But I don't know if you have any like little ideas there in your mind right now, Tanaya, about potential things, but.
I don't. I feel like we've mentioned a number of them, and I just encourage people to think about like what's missing, or what do I feel really passionate about creating to, add to the cheese community or to help someone become more involved. I do feel like I'm always hearing from people who want to become more involved in cheese but don't know how. So I feel like a material could, a piece of material could just give people access to something within their own community. So this could be something that's sort of micro, or it might be something pretty large scale that could be used by lots of people who work in the cheese field. Jewel, is there anything else you want to add? I see a question in the chat about whether this could be a collaborative.
Which I think is great in tandem with another question. So another question was posed, so the DZTA, we only give out one a year traditionally. Will there only be one research award available? And then that kind of in tandem question of, could this be a collaborative effort where numerous people work together? and apply jointly?
I don't know.
We didn't even think of that when we were creating it. So we
I
would.
don't see why not.
I don't see why not either. I mean, it's a team. It's still a project, but a team is working on it. I don't see the why not? Yeah. But
I love when people ask questions that we don't have answers to.
Yeah.
It's great. It's so hard to think of all the options. I love it.
If you have a vision for it, just tell us what that vision is.
Yeah.
As someone mentioned, they said they would be sharing the award. So so I don't see, it's kind of the idea of if you use that money, use it as you like. If that involves bringing on somebody else to the idea, then that works. I don't see why not. Love that idea. And so addressing that question though of will we only be giving out one award a year, or how will that be working?
So far, that is the plan.
At this point, that's the plan. We'll do this award this year. Hopefully we'll have the DZTE next year and this award again next year. But, we're meeting every month and we're talking about stuff, and we've gotten a lot of great input tonight. So we may be able to do more next year,
Yeah. I have one last DZRA question and then a couple regarding the training webinar that we're going to do. So for the DZRA, can this research be done or used? So the research you conduct and get during the DZRA project, can you use that for a future endeavor, like an academic piece of work or a for-profit place? So I guess kind of the question of rights to the information as such.
Yeah, we did agree that that could be the case. You could use it for your personal work. The original thing is going to be on the DZTE website as a teaching tool, educational piece. But then, yes, you can work from that, right? Yeah.
That's my understanding too. I mean, I feel like the larger impact, the larger the better. If this helps somebody start a children's book project or connect with a videographer that they know in the community, or does something that maybe you create a piece of it for us, but then it becomes larger and you're able to publish it or get other funding for it. I think that's great. We would love to see you be really successful and for your project to reach as many people as possible, if that's your vision.
Yeah, right on.
Great. And I'm just going to ask a couple questions. If we could repeat the date of the DZTE webinar, and then for ZING train, and then also where will people be able to sign up for that information that we have as of now? Any of that?
Are you able to address that, Jewel? Because I'm not actually sure.
I figured.
It is on March 15th.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. How do people find out about that?
Yeah. So we are going to, ZING Train, if anyone's not familiar with that, visit them, zingtrain.com. They're a fantastic resource. They've also been doing free webinars all during the pandemic of just really great things that you can sign up for and get great help. Ari Weinsvik teaches a lot of them, talking about how to kind of help with morale during a pandemic or with teamwork, remote work, things like that. So I can't recommend this website enough as a resource, but they've been kind enough to donate a visioning webinar, which is their #1 workshop that they offer at the company. And it will be taught by Ari Weinsvik. They will be running the registration for that. So we are awaiting, that's on March 15th. So we have just over 6 weeks for that. And we will be getting that link for them shortly. As far as kind of like information going forward of how to learn about this webinar, which is just the beginning of also hopefully more types of workshops and webinars that we will be offering with the DZTE, the endowment. And that will be available by Friday this week. You can check your emails if you're signed up for our newsletter. I recommend signing up for our newsletter there, especially since this is a lot of information overload. And while you can watch it again, it's sometimes nice to have a written reference. So we will have a newsletter going out by the end of this week. It will include information on how to sign up for this webinar. It will be free. As we mentioned before, this will be free. And it will be a pretty an intensive workshop. This won't be kind of just, if you think I've heard about visioning before and it's just going to be a repeat of that. This is going to be a really great opportunity from someone who was an active board member also with this organization for 6 years. So really able to give you a great deal of input, a great deal of actual practical advice on how to write a vision, not just for your life, but really for this organization. So I really highly recommend it. It's going to be a minimum of an hour and a half. We'll start at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And so it's going to be this great opportunity to really collaborate with other people who are present there. We have plenty of space, so please tell your friends, even if they're not wanting to apply for the scholarship. Maybe attending this webinar will inspire them. But then also it's just a really great practice to learn from the person who kind of invented this concept for the greater food industry of visioning. And so, yeah, it will have a great opportunity to ask questions, to engage. Your microphones will be turned off at times. You'll be able to really get a lot out of it. So, but please stay tuned on our social media and with our MailChimp, Instagram, Facebook, things like that for the link to sign up. But I can't emphasize enough, this is free. So please take advantage of this opportunity. It's really, really exciting. But I hope that answers those questions that we've had. Yeah, it seems to be the case on my end.
Perfect. Well, we hope that we've lit a little fire and that you feel inspired tonight. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And if this doesn't feel right for you, maybe you know someone in the Choose community who would be excited by this opportunity. So please feel free to pass it on and let people know that there is a new Daphne Zeppos Research Award that is now an annual scholarship.
Yeah, spread the word. We'd appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, I see that there's no more questions on the Facebook. I don't see anything else coming to the chat. If you do have anything, please feel free to throw them in the next couple of minutes. But just on a closing note, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate seeing so many faces that I've seen before throughout the last 8.5 years of this organization, but also new faces and new names. I'm really distracted by an adorable dog right now. I can't handle it. Hi, Lily and Alex. But love you guys and so grateful for y'all to be here. I'm really excited. I know last year was a really difficult year and it doesn't seem like we're out of the woods yet, but this organization has fought really hard to make sure that we can still offer opportunities. And so I'm really proud of this. This is really exciting. We've taken all of the feedback that every single one of you that I've ever spoken to has given us over the last 8 years. And we're keep trying to build this organization so it really can be a resource for the people. That's what Daphne's goal was. If you missed my opening notes, she really wanted to broaden people's horizons, and that was through education. And the goal was that education can really protect a cheesemaker. And that is still to this day our goal. Whether a pandemic or not, we're still going to accomplish that. And that's what I'm really excited about, is that we can offer opportunities for you all to have something to look forward to feel fulfilled in your jobs, but also to kind of still keep giving back to the industry and just pivoting. We hate that word, but that's what we're doing. And just keep moving forward. So on that note, just as a reinforcement, there will not be a DZTE, a Daphne Zeppos Teaching Award Scholarship awarded this year. So, but still, if you want to travel, please keep thinking about that and just, you can apply next year or whenever we're able to travel again, it will come back. This DZRA, the Daphne Zeppos Research Award, is not going away after this year. This was also thought a lot about for people who cannot travel, no matter what is going on in the world. They have circumstances, they have limitations with their job, whatever it may be. It is a smaller award, but it's the fortunate thing is that because of such incredible support financially over the last 8.5 years, we've been able to offer these two going forward. We won't have that problem of a financial issue. And that's thanks to so many people on this who are watching right now who have really helped us with fundraising over the years, either through donations or events or whatever it was. So I really appreciate that because all of that effort is now, we want to return that and give out more money. So that's really incredible. And again, if you have more questions, if you're just over the moon and elated and your brain's on like shutting down right now and you can't wait till March 1st, because that's when we'll have the application on the website, please feel free to email us at info@dzta.org and we can answer your questions. Tom, Perry, and I are happy to speak with you about these different things. As kind of a reminder, we don't really encourage reaching out to board members directly. It's a conflict of interest because they are the very ones who are reading your applications then and trying to choose a winner, and it's not anonymous. But please, please, please use me and Tom. We're here available for you. Please use past recipients. When it comes to the DZRA, unfortunately, you're going to be like Jess Perry in 2013, who's the first ever to do this and won't have a past recipient to talk to. But Tom and I have been part of building this, so we can really, really help you. So please, please reach out. The deadline is May 1st or April 1st. I'm saying these things in line. There's too many dates lately.
It's May 1st, Anna.
Thank you. There's too many dates lately.
You have 2 months.
You have 2 months.
To do.
So you're stuck at home in the winter. You're bored. You're not doing anything. I'm in the same boat. So please call me. I'd love to talk about these things, and I'd love to see more than one person apply this year. It'd be really, really awesome. So, all right. On that note, this will be available probably in the next couple of days as I try to just get this edited up, available on our YouTube page. And if you want to link to it, it'll be linked in the MailChimp that we send out also on Friday. So be able to share it and revel back on it. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and have a wonderful evening. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Peter and Tanaya. I really, really appreciate you sharing and preparing for this.
See everyone.
My pleasure.
Thanks.